Sully Winter Show live, local, topical, and relevant. So first of all, let's talk about what's going on. The NAACP has issued a black consumer advisory to inform and caution being the key word, black consumers about the ongoing and intentional rollback of nationwide diversity, equity, and inclusion commitments by corporations and institutions. This is their words. These actions threaten economic opportunities, workplace diversity, and community investments directly impacting black communities nationwide. So basically what they want to do is have people go in and not necessarily boycott. It said the NAACP urges black consumers to take the following actions in response to these harmful practices. Spend intentionally. Support businesses and organizations that maintain and expand their DEI commitments and prioritize investment in black communities. Demand accountability. Call out corporations that have abandoned. Support black-owned businesses. Advocate for change. Stay informed. All of these things, wonderful things. Things that you shouldn't need the NAACP to say, right? In other words, do you work a 40-hour week? You make your own money. You make your own decisions, and you purchase what you want to purchase when you want to purchase it. But there are companies that they're saying that you should stay away from, or you should have a buy-in at. Right, and those companies include that you should not. They're saying we're not calling for a boycott of Lowe's and other places like that, or Walmart or Target or places like that. What they're doing is calling for a buy-in. So many of these companies. So in a global society, in a society where we're all interconnected. In an integrated society, you kind of can't get around. You can't boycott. Just like when Colin Kaepernick kneeled for the national anthem and all these people said, we're not going to ever watch football again. Football had some of their highest ratings ever. And you have people on both sides of the aisle. You have people saying, I'm not going to watch football because you haven't hired Colin Kaepernick. They said, we're going to boycott NFL. And then you had the people on the other side who says, I'm never going to watch the NFL because this guy's kneeling and other players are kneeling for the national anthem. Yet the NFL had their highest ratings of all time. Because people like me, you're like, who cares? I'm here to watch football. Well, it's the same thing here. Lowe's, Target, Walmart, Amazon, Meta, McDonald's, and Tractor Supply. So Meta's Facebook and Instagram. So you go on Instagram and Facebook to say, we're going to boycott Facebook and Instagram. Or we're not going to spend money. We're not going to go on there anymore. But everyone's on Facebook still passing around the information about the boycott. But that's not what I'm here to talk about, because I don't agree with boycotts, because we're an integrated society. So, for instance, let's say you say, go into Target, which the NAACP is saying, go into Target, and they have African-American owned businesses that are on the store shelves. Find out those businesses and go into Target and only buy those businesses. That makes sense. In a segregated society, in an integrated society, if you do that, if you walk into Target or Walmart or Tractor Supply or Lowe's, if you go into those stores and you look around, guess what you will see? You will see an inordinate number of African-American, Hispanic, mostly women working in those stores. And so by you pulling your dollars or lowering your expenditures with those stores, guess who will be impacted the most? Those African-American, female, and Hispanic, mostly female workers. And it becomes a self-perpetuating cycle. So to get rid of the programs, you stop spending, they lay off people, and then you say, oh, you're racist for laying these people off. No, I don't have the money to pay them because you stopped spending your money. So it's backwards. But let me tell you where this comes from. In 1972, the NAACP boycotted, with the SCLC, boycotted blaxploitation films. Superfly, Cotton Comes to Harlem. I can name a ton of them because I'm a huge fan. They boycotted. They said these films were bad representations of African Americans. We don't want them aired or played or made anymore. That's 74. 81 comes around, they stop making these films, right? People got all outraged. Yeah, they're just showing us as pimps and da-da-da, and everybody got ran and they marched and all this kind of stuff. The same stuff that's happening now. But this happened back then. I want to prove to you what happens when you boycott these things. And I don't know if it's unintended consequences, or I don't know if it's planned from those who run these organizations, or worse, their funders. So let me tell you what happened. 74, you boycott blaxploitation films. Blaxploitation films go away. I once famously interviewed Richard Roundtree on my previous radio stop, and he broke it down to me how 90% of African Americans in the film industry in Hollywood had no work for years. No work for years. Cameramen, gaffers, grips, writers, editors, everything. Nobody had work because the NAACP in California boycotted these films and the SCLC. So they went away. 1981 rolls around, 7 years later, 1981 rolls around, and guess what the NAACP has to do in California? Boycott Hollywood for not hiring African Americans. The same African Americans that you cost their jobs and careers because you boycotted in the first place. Now follow me here, my friends. 84 comes along. You say, hey, Hollywood, what are you guys doing? There's no black people in jobs. We can't work. NAACP, riled up, So Hollywood said, yeah, you're right. 1990s come along. 7 years later, got to figure funding, scripts, directors, all of this stuff has to be found. So this doesn't happen overnight. All of a sudden, 1990s rolls around, all these black films are made. And guess what? It's the exact same film genres as the blaxploitation films, gangster films, violent films, dope films, gangland films, murder, mayhem, prostitution, everything else in the 1990s. Those are all the big films that came out. But guess what the difference was? They were made by major motion pictures. You know why? Because the major motion pictures recognized that the blaxploitation films, although they were made on the cheap, were making millions of dollars and they weren't getting a piece of it. So what did they do? I don't know this to be true, but it certainly seems like it. They rolled out the NAACP. Get rid of that so we could take it over in the 90s, and that's what they did. And now you have all of these films come out made by major motion pictures. So what is happening now? All I can say to you, I don't know. I don't know. But I do know there's got to be somebody smart enough someplace to recognize, hey, if we don't spend our money in Target, Walmart, Lowe's, Tractor Supply, and all these major corporations who are hiring a large number of the people that look like us, they will lose their jobs. And if they lose their jobs, then what? Oh, I know. You have a protest waiting on the other end. It's such an insidious game that's been played since the 70s. Shelley Winter Show. We'll be right back.